Personal History by Katharine Graham is an autobiography that chronicles the life of the former publisher of the Washington Post and Newsweek. Born in 1917, Katharine Meyer was raised in a wealthy and influential family in New York City. Her father, Eugene Meyer, was a successful investment banker who later became the chairman of the Federal Reserve Board and the owner of the Washington Post. Katharine's mother, Agnes Ernst Meyer, was an active philanthropist and socialite who instilled in her daughter a strong sense of civic duty and a love for literature. Katharine's childhood was marked by privilege and exposure to the world of high society. She attended exclusive schools, traveled extensively, and was groomed to become a proper young lady of her time. However, she also developed a keen intellect and a curiosity about the world around her. As she grew older, she began to question the limitations placed on women in her social circle and sought ways to break free from these constraints. In 1940, Katharine married Philip Graham, a dashing and ambitious man from an equally prominent family. Philip was working as a lawyer in New York City at the time, but he soon moved to Washington, D.C. to join his father-in-law's law firm. It was during this period that Philip developed a close friendship with Felix Frankfurter, a Supreme Court justice and confidant of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. This connection led to Philip's appointment as a consultant to the War Department, where he helped shape American policy during World War II. As Philip's career flourished, Katharine became increasingly involved in his work, attending meetings and social events with him. She also began to develop her own interests, joining the board of the YWCA and becoming active in democratic politics. In 1947, when Philip was named publisher of the Washington Post, Katharine became even more involved in the newspaper business. She served as a consultant to her husband, offering advice on editorial policy and helping to smooth over interpersonal conflicts within the organization. Over the next several years, Katharine's role at the Washington Post continued to evolve. She became more assertive in her opinions and began to challenge some of the traditional gender roles within the newspaper industry. In 1954, she was named the first woman publisher of a major American newspaper when she took over as president of the Washington Post Company, after her husband's death. As publisher, Katharine Graham faced numerous challenges, including a series of lawsuits filed by the government over alleged conflicts of interest involving her family's ownership of the Washington Post and their role in the Federal Reserve. She also had to navigate the turbulent political climate of the 1960s and 1970s, which included the Vietnam War, the Watergate scandal, and the Civil Rights Movement. Throughout these trials, Katharine remained steadfast in her belief in the importance of a free press and the role of the Washington Post in holding those in power accountable. One of the most significant events in Katharine Graham's career occurred in 1969, when she purchased the struggling news weekly magazine Newsweek from its original owners. This acquisition greatly expanded the Washington Post Company's reach and influence, and it also presented new challenges for Graham as a publisher. She faced criticism for her decision to purchase Newsweek, with some accusing her of using company funds to buy a competitor. However, she remained resolute in her belief that the merger would benefit both organizations and strengthen the media landscape as a whole. Under Katharine Graham's leadership, both the Washington Post and Newsweek thrived. She oversaw numerous Pulitzer Prize-winning stories and expanded the reach of both publications internationally. She also championed diversity within her organization, promoting women and people of color to senior positions and creating programs to support their professional development. In addition to her work as a publisher, Katharine Graham was also a dedicated philanthropist and advocate for education. She served on the boards of numerous educational institutions, including Harvard University and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and she used her influence and resources to promote literacy and access to quality education for all. Katharine Graham's legacy extends far beyond her time as a publisher. She was a trailblazer for women in the media industry, breaking down barriers and paving the way for future generations of female leaders. Her commitment to free speech and the importance of a strong, independent press continues to inspire journalists and media organizations around the world. Personal History is not only the story of Katharine Graham's life, but also a testament to her indelible impact on American journalism and society as a whole.